Hey guys, it's your girl Mel, and today I'm gonna be giving you all the information simplified to how you can become a full-time traveler. If you have been following me on Instagram, you would know that I travel 24/7. Like that's my life. For the past 2 years, I've been just traveling, living in different countries. I lived in Australia for a full year. I lived in Colombia for 3. My God. I went to so many countries at this point. And yeah, now I'm just gonna simplify everything and give you all the information to make this possible for you as well. So the two main misconceptions that I hear often and that I get told often is you must have a lot of money, which to that I say not at all. And I would love to, but I don't have the guts to do it. And honestly, I was so scared. It took me, I had this idea since I was a kid. I had the idea that at 18, I would hop on a plane and just leave for Australia and never look back. Didn't end up doing that. I got scared, I got in a relationship, not the same pathways, so I ended up staying in my hometown. And after a few years, it took me another, I would say 2-3 years. Yeah, it took me another 2-3 years for me to actually make the jump and book those plane tickets back to back and just being like, you know what, I'm leaving and I'm never coming back, and selling all my stuff. So yeah. Now that we got that out of the way, let me tell you how it all started. So where does this idea, this fantasy of wanting to travel 24/7 comes from? Since I was a young kid, I always dreamed about traveling, and all my favorite movies were all about people leaving home and finding themselves and whatever. It was always around that. It was always something in the back of my head. So I decided I was gonna live in Australia, and my idea was actually to live there forever and never come back to my hometown. Now, I did live there. Am I gonna live there forever? I don't think so, but it was a very pleasant experience. I can check that off of my bucket list now, so I'm very happy about it. But how did I make the jump? I actually was about to back out again. Because when I turned 18, like I already mentioned, I was planning on already doing that, but I went on and found this this company that helps you out with all the process of getting your papers and all of that, your visa, which by the way, I wouldn't recommend doing. Now that I've been doing this for a while, it's really not worth it. That's another story. So yeah, I booked something with them, let's say a contract with them for a year, and they were going to help me out, and then once I would fly to Australia, they would help me out with job opportunities and stuff like that, and housing sometimes. I chickened out, to be honest, and also my partner at the time, he was just not on the same page about that. So I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna go later in life, whatever. When we split, I called that company again and told them that I was ready to actually go through the whole process of getting all my paperwork and stuff to go there in Australia. I planned to leave in 2023. I told myself that it was kind of crazy and I just couldn't figure out how I could save money to go there. Then after I just told myself, okay, well, I don't need that much money. I can just go and then figure it out from there. I'm gonna be on my work holiday visa, so I can work legally over there. So money is not so much of an issue. Since I was super scared, my plan was to go to Worldpackers, create an account, and send my profile to a bunch of people on that platform to see if I can get a volunteer gig. Now, it ended up happening very, very fast. Honestly, I was on my bed. I went through Worldpackers, sent out my application to a bunch of people, and within 24 hours, I got notification that I got accepted for one, and I booked my plane ticket for the following day. So after doing that, I met so many people that were traveling full-time, people that were traveling for 6 months at a time, and different circumstances for everyone, and it just got me thinking that this is even easier than what I thought. So kind of the stress kind of went away. So I had to come back to Canada for a medical exam. I stayed for only 2 weeks, sold whatever I had left, and yeah, and then I just packed everything again and left for Colombia. My plane ticket for Australia was in August, I believe. I think so. I think it was in August. Like, I think I had 3 more months before leaving to Australia. So instead of just waiting to maybe potentially checking out again, I told myself, you know what, we're just gonna go to Colombia for a few months. So that's what I did. At one point got bored, got another volunteer gig, and my volunteer gig was only for 2 weeks, and I ended up being there for 2 months, so that was great. And yeah, then went to Hawaii, and yeah, so the rest is history. Then after that, I've been traveling nonstop. Okay, so let's give you all the information on how you can do this as well. So these are a few options that you have available to you that are very easy for you to, you know, access and just kind of see if it works for you. So you have volunteer work, work holidays, couch surfing, house sitting, and pet sitting. House sitting and pet sitting, I've never done it, but I've done everything else. Volunteer work, I mean, World Packers, I believe there's Workaway and Woofing, I think Woofing is also another one, I'm not sure. But yeah, so you have a bunch of apps out there that you can create a profile for and just send out your resume profile to all of these different opportunities in different parts of the world. There's literally something for every single country, so it just helps you a lot. Honestly, volunteering can give you like free accommodation and sometimes even food. It really like varies. It depends on what you're doing and what they have to offer. Also, you can volunteer from 5 hours a week to like 25 hours a week. A big variety of possibilities that you can do through volunteering. And work holidays. So that's what I did for Australia. So work holidays, very easy, seems complicated. So you just go to your government website and you have a tab there for work holidays. And you can see all of the list of all of the countries that you can apply for. There's different requirements for each one of them, but usually it kind of stays the same. It's relatively easy for Australia, in my case, as a Canadian, but I've heard also by many people that I've met throughout my travels that Australia is like one of the easiest to get. So yeah, if that's something that interests you, it's very, very easy. So the beauty of it is that you can do actually 1 year and then look for the requirements on what you have to do to get a second year and maybe even a third. So you could potentially live in that country for like 3 years and work there. So that's pretty cool. Couch surfing, I've done that in Hawaii. It's a hit or miss. I would say that some profiles were very sketchy and very questionable, but I had a very good experience with my host, and he was actually super cool, and it was just a blast, honestly. Again, I've seen profiles that were really, really sketchy, so just like be careful, trust your instincts, and yeah, I mean, there's not more than you can do. But yeah, couch surfing is an option. Now, house sitting and pet sitting I've never done, which I do want to do actually. I'm planning on opening up a profile for that. I've met so many people that have done it, and they even travel with like friends. Pet sitting, I've met someone that actually traveled through Europe, and she was pet sitting almost all the time, and that allowed her to basically travel for cheap in Europe, which we all know that it's super expensive over there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Very doable, very possible. So yeah. Like anything that is on an app, kind of put the effort to it. These apps are gonna ask you if you want to do like a intro video. Just do the intro video, even though it's awkward. Smile, put a nice picture. If you're doing something for pet sitting, just like, I don't know, put a picture of you with a pet or with several animals. Like, just show that, you know, you're a good fit for that app, you know, and you're gonna get a bunch of opportunities. So yeah. that's my little tip to you. Save. How much did I save before doing all of this? Yeah, so I had 10,000 in my account when I left Canada. Now, this went super fast. When you start traveling, you kind of don't know how to, save while traveling. you kind of have to go through it to kind of learn the hard way. So that's what kind of ended up happening. But I think that the most expensive thing was going to Australia. So yeah, because Australia, I did pay for all of my accommodations, and yeah, they weren't cheap at all. I just wanted to mention that I did pay my flight only $245 to go to Australia, so that's a score. But yeah, 10K does the job, and it really depends on what country you're gonna go to. But if you have less, which I've met so many people that have less, and now I would probably leave wherever I am with less and just figure it out. Because, yeah, it's just doable. Let's get into how to get cheap accommodation. I already talked about couch surfing and volunteer work, but there's also work for accommodation that you can do with hostels. So that's an idea right there. I usually send out an email and just put on like a picture of myself and kind of explain like, hey, I'm coming to your hostel on this date and whatever. I was wondering if you guys do work for accommodation or not. Once I get there, I go talk to the manager and I'm just like, hey, I don't know if you saw my email, and then usually they've seen it and then they're like, oh yeah, like I saw you and whatever, and then we discuss about how I can get a spot or if I can get on the list for work for accommodation, which is great. You have the typical like sleeping in your car, in your van, or sleeping outside in a tent. I wanted to sleep in a hammock for so long. I didn't do it, but I was looking for a good hammock to sleep in. So yeah, it's still an idea though. So how do you get cheap food? So there's a bunch of things that I've done that really save and like cut costs on food, because food is so expensive. And that's anywhere, really. Apart from Asia. Asia is not expensive for food. Discounts on grocery stores when they're about to close, that's the biggest score ever. They usually put a bunch of things on sale and they're not even bad. I either like make a meal and then freeze the rest or whatever, and I just save on food. So something that I've done a couple of times is asking for restaurants for leftovers. So I would go to some restaurants and just ask them like, if you have anything left, instead of throwing it away, would you mind just like giving us a call and we're gonna come pick it up? And yeah, some of them said yes, some of them said that other people already asked. Yeah, that's another possibility for you. And working at a restaurant, guys, that saves so much money on everything, on drinks and on food. So working at a restaurant is a must. I was working as a housekeeper and also working at a restaurant, so I would get like free food. At the end of the day, instead of throwing out everything, right, I would bring the food home. So we would have like poke bowls every single night. Saved so much money on food. Now the next tip. Travel in a country where your currency has good value. From, for example, Canada to Japan, I would have a different strategy than if I would go to Bali, or if I would go to Colombia, or if I would go someplace else that is not like, that the currency isn't like higher than yours. That just means that you're gonna have to pay more. So if you're gonna go to a country where it's like more expensive and you already know that, I would honestly just look up work holidays and probably house sitting and pet sitting, but mostly work holidays. Honestly, you would get the best out of that experience, since you're gonna be working, so you're gonna have money to spend and save, but also you're gonna get the opportunity to live in that country for a full year. So I feel like that's a score, honestly. Now, the long-awaited answer to the famous question of how do I even finance all of this? Let me tell you. So, making money online. So I taught English as a second language on Preply. And for that, you don't need any requirements or anything like that. You don't even need like a degree or anything. I did a 120-hour TESOL certificate, but you don't need that. It just gives you more opportunities when you get to the app, because people can see that you actually have like a little certificate for that. But yeah, so do anything online. Like you can do freelancing, you can go on Upwork and just find little gigs there. If you're like a web designer and everything like that, it's like relatively easy for you to just hop on your computer and do it anywhere in the world. So yeah, just need good internet, that's it. So back in 2021, I went to Mexico for 4 months, ran out of money at one point, and I had this good handy dandy camera. So I had my Canon T6i with me, thankfully, and I put out an ad on Facebook on different groups saying that I'm a photographer and how much I was charging or whatever, and I put a few pictures that I took for my Instagram, and somebody actually contacted me and gave me a gig and I got paid. I could stay longer in Mexico, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, you just have to kind of wing it the same way as you would do back home. You kind of do it abroad. You just have to kind of tell yourself that everything's possible and kind of make the jump to do it. As difficult as it may sound, it's very easy once you start doing the little steps to achieve whatever you want. Honestly, I wasn't a photographer whatsoever. I still am learning how to use this camera, but I made it work. And yeah, it worked out at the end. Same as teaching online. At first I didn't know what I was doing, and then now I kind of sort of do. I also met a lot of people that were like bartending or that were cooks that are traveling. So they just send out their resume online and then they get the company to a job, and then that allows them to apply for a special visa to go to that country and live there and have a job at the same time. So there's a lot of ways for you to make money abroad. So this is the end of this video. Hopefully it answered all of you guys' questions and maybe motivated you to do this jump into traveling. If I missed anything, just leave a comment down below with your question and I'll be happy to answer it. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and see you in my next one. Bye!